So I am gonna put our comments here, and I am gonna say to anyone who's listening, welcome. I see there's a few people out there watching, whether you're watching on Facebook, on the 50/50 hour page, on my Claudia Gibson music page, on Mike's music page, on YouTube. Please just you can comment where you're watching from. If you're watching on our personal page, we can't see your comments. But if you are watching on a music page, one of our music pages, or on the 50/50 hour page, we can see it. So anyway, without further ado, I am going to introduce Mike Ride, and then we're going to get to chatting in a couple minutes. What's the first tune that you're going to do for us?
The first tune I'm going to do for us is going to be on my someday to be released next CD. I have a joke with the producer I work with. Every time we've tried to work on a CD, there's been some cataclysmic event. First, his wife got pregnant, and then he moved, and now it's been a pandemic. So, it's a song called "The Rhythm of the Sky," and
Cool.
the gist of it is, when things are chaotic, we tend to look for something that provides us with a steady rhythm, and the day does that. There's a sunrise and a sunset. That's kind of the gist of that tune.
Okay, cool.
Am I starting?
Go ahead.
Oh, I guess we should have talked about that part. Well, you're scared 'cause you're not sure where this love's going, though it feels like it might be right this time. You've been burned in the past when a love you thought would last grew bitter and withered on the vine. I ain't got no powers of prediction. I don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring. I'd like to say for sure what we have it will endure, but every pawn shop is full of wedding rings. And this love of ours, it's an unfolding story, yeah, new chapters, they get written every day. And though we're in unfamiliar territory now, well, there are signs that help show us the way. Just keep an eye on the night sky and watch as the stars take their places right on cue. Come happiness, come sorrow, they'll keep shining till tomorrow morning's light comes into view. Every night about this time, the North Star's easy to find, and the Big Dipper shines close by. When we feel uncertain, we'll just draw back the curtains and take comfort in the rhythm of the sky. The rhythm of the sky. Sometimes it feels like everything's just temporary. Yeah, love is hard to hold on to these days. I know you'd like to see some kind of guarantee that everything is gonna work out okay. And I ain't here to tell you any stories about how perfect life with me is gonna be. But I can offer you a heart that's strong and true if you wanna take this journey with me. And this love of ours, it's an unfolding story, yeah, new chapters, they get written every day. And though we're in unfamiliar territory now, there are signs that help show us the way. Just keep an eye on the night sky and watch as the stars take their places right on cue. Come happiness, come sorrow, they'll keep shining till tomorrow morning's light comes into view. Every night about this time, the North Star's easy to find, and the Big Dipper shines close by. When we feel uncertain, we'll just draw back the curtains and take comfort in the rhythm of the sky. Oh, the rhythm of the sky. The rhythm of the sky.
Nice tune.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I was thinking about how during our recent, I live in Central Texas, just outside of Austin, and when we had our little power freeze, the one nice thing, even though it was super cold, was walking outside at night, and because we live in a dark sky town anyway, but there was just nothing to interfere with the stars, a few times, and it was just really, really lovely. That's one of the nice things about when civilization gets shut off.
That's true. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. That one's been hanging around for a long time, and looking forward to putting it out on the next record.
Well, we got people listening from, let's see, first of all, hey, there's my husband. I don't even pay him, and he listens. That's super nice, up in Cedar Park. He's working tonight. He's doing a game, feeding people. And we have your cousins listening from Alabama.
Yeah.
I got a cousin up in New York who I think might be listening too. And my friend Roberto is listening. Thank you, Roberto, for listening. And so Mike Ryan is an interesting fellow, okay? So for this, I'm not going to embarrass you too badly. I said I wouldn't. But I felt sort of creepy because I was like looking at your Facebook page to kind of get a feel of stuff you've been doing. And so, and you're like, you kind of make us feel like slackers because it's like, oh, you're rebuilding a Jeep with your son, you're doing this, you're doing that. But anyway, I want to let people know a little bit about you and who you are. I think I met you maybe at SWRFA or FAI or NERFA.
I think it was SWRFA.
Yeah, and that's right, because in 2018 you were doing a showcase there, I think. And our mutual friend Annette Waslick from Maryland, she was my roommate, and I think she introduced me to you, and I was really super impressed with your music. But you're from Oklahoma originally. You grew up in Oklahoma City?
Born and raised in Oklahoma City, and I left there when I was in my early 20s, and I went into the military, so I still think of Oklahoma as home, but I haven't lived there in a long time.
But you've been all over the place. And,
all over the world.
And now you're in Virginia, and you did the military for a long time. You were an officer, and you left in 2017. You said it was your anniversary today.
It was, I retired on March the 17th.
St. Patrick's Day. So you had two reasons for raising a glass.
That's right.
And but you've had a lot of success since you started back with music again. We kind of have that in common. We both started back kind of in the mid-2010s back again. And you've had a lot of songwriting wins. Grand Prize at 2019 Mid-Atlantic Song Contest, and also at the 2019 Dallas Songwriters Association. You were in Kerrville New Folk twice. Mm-hmm. And I was interested because I think you were there. Let's see, you were there. I'm not sure what years you were there.
2015, and I was an alternate in 2017 or 2018.
2018, yeah, that's what I was. So I wanted to ask you about that. So because I had friends who were alternates, and I was wondering, like, with your military background, and I'm sure you've been involved in missions. Did you ever go through your mind to say, oh, okay? Tanya Harding time, I'm the alternate.
No, not with respect to Kerrville. I will tell you just a quick funny story is you had Hope Dunbar on, I think, last time around?
Yeah, I had Hope recently. On. Yeah, a few months ago.
Speaking of song contests and kneecapping competition, a crazy coincidence, Hope and I were in Kerrville New Folk 2015 together, and I'm not sure I even remember meeting her in Kerrville, but you know how it goes. You get to be like Facebook friends and stuff. Anyway, a year or two ago, Hope and I were both, she won second place and I won third place in American Songwriter Magazine's lyrics contest for one of the months. So of all the crazy coincidences, we both placed that month. And so the joke between me and Hope was, we need to find out who number one is,
and go after them, right?
Yeah.
I had friends who were alternates last year, and they actually ended up getting in because I was joking with them. I'm like, oh, okay, you're going to take them out. and Michael Cross and Joanna Howerton, and she sends me a text one day. She's like, "We're in." I'm like, "Did you do something?" She's, "No, they couldn't make it because of some reason. Don't worry, we didn't do anything bad."
I think it was last year that I saw the list, and I knew some of the people that were alternates, and I tried to send out congratulations, to ease the pain. And I tried to be the bigger person. And anyway, I emailed Angela Easterling, who was in New Folk in 2015 with me. I was like, "Hey, congratulations! I see you're an alternate." She's like, "I had no idea." So she didn't even know, and she ended up being one of the ones that got called. So she actually
That's crazy. Well, we're going to pick up this thread. I'm going to do a tune now.
Okay.
So I'm going to mute you while I'm doing a tune, so you can do whatever you want, and just don't run away.
I'm going to adjust my microphone, which I don't think I've ever played with this that it hasn't started going like that during the first songs.
Yeah, they just have their own mind. All the bad things happen. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to do a tune. So I have this. I've been playing around with playing electric again. Just not in a lead guitarist type way, but just to get a little more textures. Because after a year or so, you get kind of bored just playing acoustic guitar. But I'm going to do a song that I started writing a few years back during some really bad weather experiences out here in Texas, and we have a lot of them. And then it kind of continued, and we had a really huge flood down the road from us. But anyway, this song is called End of Days. Hurricanes, wildfires, seems like Mother Nature's running wild. This is the end of days. It feels like the end of days. River floods, houses gone, left in mud just to carry on. Is this the end of days? Oh, it feels like the end of days. Preacher says, brother, you need religion. Get down on your knees and seek a vision. Wind blowing in like it's Judgment Day. Maybe this world is gonna wash away. 2 by 2 was his plan. 40 days till they hit the land. Was it the end of days? Oh, it seemed like the end of days. Rainbow sky, journey's end. Send them out just to start again. Was it the end of days? No, it wasn't the end of days. Forget waiting, sister, for your deliverance. Just making a move can make a difference. No use worrying about the Judgment Day. All of those fears are gonna fade away. Oh, and I can't wait, baby. One more minute, I got to live this life and know that's in it. Time keeps ticking to the Judgment Day. I don't want these years just to waste away. Are we lost, me and you? Where is love? Will we make it through? Is this our end of days? Is this our end of days? Is it the end of days?
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Very pretty.
Thank Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's always good to have a song about the world ending.
Well, as timely as today's headlines, as they used to say.
Well, that song started out as a very upbeat song. It was on my first album, and I had a band, and it was, it was our upbeat down number. And hey, so you've got some friends listening from Oklahoma,
All right.
Alan Countryman, and from North Carolina. So
Very cool.
Very cool. Thank you guys. Thanks for listening. So I am going to ask you a question right now. I'm going to go up here. I have some prepared questions. Okay, so we were talking about Kerrville and New Folk, and that's we have a lot of things in common, but that's one of the things that we have in common. I was there in 2019, so the year after you were last chosen as an alternate. So I want to know, because I know you had a lot of experience. You've had a lot of experience jumping out of airplanes, which I can't imagine doing. But so here's the question, okay? So what's scarier, jumping out of a plane at night? Because I was watching some videos of guys like jumping out in their static line at night. And I'm like, oh my God, I'd be like with the heart attack, dead. Or standing on the stage at the Kerrville New Folk competition.
I think I was lucky in that I did a lot of performing in bands when I was younger. So when I came back into the singer-songwriter thing, I don't really have too many problems with stage fright. I get a little nervous like everybody, but so I guess the answer is neither one's really that scary because it's all about experience. I mean, jumping out of planes is like any other thing that you do. It's what psychologists call exposure and response prevention. So the more you expose yourself to whatever it is, so the more you do it, then the less scary it becomes. And it's the same thing with performing live.
Yeah.
And honestly, when I went to Kerrville, I was pretty new into the songwriting thing, and I joke with people, but I'm sort of serious. I really had no business in in that particular forum at that time. The funny thing about performing as a solo artist, having grown up and cut my musical teeth in bands, is when I first started doing it. It's like if you make a mistake, if you blow a lyric, if you blow a chord change, if your capo falls off, you are out there, as the military saying goes, alone and unafraid.
It's
nobody to hide behind.
No, it's being in a band is a cozy, fun thing. I mean, unless people are fighting, but most of the time, because I started out solo. I started out like in a duo and then a trio, and then I had bands in college, and it's just like a really nice, cozy feeling, and then afterwards in my 20s, I was trying to put them together. But yeah, solo stuff, especially when I went to Kerrville, I wouldn't jump out of a plane, I don't think, unless it was like my life depended on it, which I guess it does sometimes. But I just like went back to being a music student and being in classical guitar and being in like master classes, and it was friggin' terrifying. And I was up there going, why is my hand doing this like claw shake thing? Because it was just like, that's how the nerves were coming out. So
I think like a lot of musicians, believe it or not, people find it strange, but most of us are actually pretty introverted. And I would rather play for 5,000 people than for 5,
Absolutely.
Because it becomes a faceless mass as opposed to, I mean, the most nerve-wracking thing I do is play a new song for my wife when it's just me and her,
Oh, yeah, and we have a joke with my husband, because if he kind of goes, I know it's like I've really got something. And if he's like, oh, yeah, I really like that, I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, let's have you play another one. What are you gonna play for us?
Well, I have a joke about songwriting, and that is anytime you can put a girl's name into a song, it seems to work. I don't know why that is, but... So this is a song called Emilita. Well, an autumn breeze whispered in my window, soft as a morning dove's cry. Thought about the way your hair brushed against my face the morning you kissed me, that last goodbye. I still wonder where you are and what you're doing. still come to me in midnight motel dreams. We raced each other down the road to ruin. Well, I crashed and burned, you got away clean. Emilita, the colors bleeding from the day. Emilita, another long night's on the way. Oh, and I'll lie awake, missing the touch of your hand, knowing anyone who hasn't loved you, they could never understand. You had a mariposa tattooed on your shoulder and a nickel-plated pistol in your drawer. You were wiser and just a little older, and you put your hooks in me like nobody had before. Emilita, the colors bleeding from the day. Emilita, another long night's on the way. And I'll lie awake, missing the touch of your hand, knowing anyone that hasn't loved you, they could never understand. And in that little room at the top of the stairs, well, we danced to those Cuban songs. Music would play and your body would sway, and I knew even then it was too good to last for too long. Too good to last for long. Oh, Emilita, the colors bleeding from the day. Emilita, another long night's on the way. And I'll lie awake, missing the touch of your hand, knowing anyone that hasn't loved you, they could never understand.
Yay.
Yeah.
I gotta get, I always forget, I have to get some kind of sound effect thing, you know?
Yeah, like they do at sports events now.
Yeah, you know, like the,
yeah.
yeah. So we can just have a whole, like, you know, hey, you know, just a whole, like, crowd, you know? Like have it the SpongeBob Bubble Bowl, you know? Well,
I guess they're doing that now, or they were at pro football games. I didn't know that. A good friend of mine who's our neighbor is a big pro football fan, and we were watching the game at his house, and I was like, "There's a crowd there?" And he's like, "No, those are like fake crowd noises."
They're fake crowd noises. Yeah. Hey, so another thing we have in common is that we're both at Dripping Springs Songwriter Festival, but at different years. Yes. I think I was there the year after you were last there. And so Wes Collins is watching and saying, "Sounding great."
Wes Collins.
And he's probably confused because I typed back thanks to him, but I realized I was looking in on your account and I typed it from you. So you were playing and saying thank you at the same time. So maybe like
multitasking.
I shouldn't have told him that because he could have thought, you know, yeah, I type with my feet. It's something I learned in the military. Yeah. But John Barilla, thank you so much for watching. An old Pearl River face from Pearl River, New York, where I grew up. And Climb to Glory says 26 Abbey Road.
Hey, Climb to Glory.
And that was Mike saying thanks. So there you go.
Yeah. Wes is one of my musical heroes, and I've got a chance to have him come up and do a show with another one of my musical heroes, Kip and Martin. All three of us did In the Round together, and then I got to go down and play in Carolina do a show with Wes. So
Wes is amazing, and you know he's just so good. He's so good. He's just so good. And then when I found out that, you know, he's he also, works a pretty intense day job. He's a librarian, which, I was like, oh, hey, I do that too. But he's like at a university and I'm at a high school. So there you go.
Yeah, I always joke Wes makes me want to write songs and quit writing songs at the same time because it's it's so good, but I can never measure up. So.
Well, we were talking before about spouse responses, and we, when I was Facebook stalking you and looking through your history, I was like, oh, okay, well, you've been married a really long time. I forget how many years. Long time. How many years? 20 years. 20 years. And I've been married. It'll be 33 years this year. But we're only 2 days apart. I was married May 22nd, and you were May 20th. So, yeah, it's a good time of year to get married. I was a lot younger then, but, I had no idea. Neither of us did. We were both like, oh. But anyway, when there's a joke with my husband. Oops, my mouse and everything. My phone just all fell out, but it's okay. There's a joke with my husband. I was saying before when he doesn't, if I play him a song that I'm super excited about, and he's kind of like, yeah, it's okay. I know I have something. Because my producer, Gordy Quist, he said the same thing. Like, he had a song he was so excited about. And he showed his wife, Amber, and she was like, yeah, it's okay. And it ended up being like a big deal. And my friend David Lee, another songwriter, he's like, yeah, he had this song, and he loved it, and he played it for his wife, the song Hello World. And she was like, well, I don't know, David. No one's going to pick that song up. And then, like, Lady Antebellum picked it up and made it a big hit. So,
wow.
It was
my
funny.
wife's line is, do you want my honest opinion? And I know when she says that, I'm doomed. So I might as well just tear up the page.
Do I look fat in this dress?
Well, when I play her new song, it's like, yeah, do you want my honest opinion?
Well,
if she doesn't say that, I know I'm good. But she's the best. I mean, God bless her for a million different reasons, but she's a fantastic critic because she's honest and she won't sugarcoat it.
And my husband is too, because he's like, yeah, that one needs a little more work. But anyway, this was one of those songs that I wrote. It was like I got to a room, I had a prompt, I wrote it in, I went to my little studio for like 6 hours and I came out and I had a pretty much finished song, and that never happened. So I'm going to play it for you.
Awesome.
I'll mute you for now, and I'll make myself big, because I can do that, because I'm the producer. If you see me doing things, it's not because I'm, well, I am ADD, but I'm not doing other things. I'm not playing video games. Anyway, this song is called Cleveland, Ohio, and it came from a prompt of a place and a day and a time. And I was given, well, you're in Cleveland, Ohio, and it's 10 a.m. on a Thursday morning, and you're facing east. And so I went into a room and I came out with this. Cleveland, Ohio, it's 10 a.m. Thursday. Checked out of my motel and I went for a walk. The lakefront's quiet except for men fishing. They stand on the dockside, cast their lines out and talk. How am I living without you? And how can I be in this world on my own? Did you really think I would doubt you? Did you really leave me alone? Youngstown, Ohio, the state line by lunchtime. Grabbed some coffee at the Quick Mart and found a talk radio. The callers are angry, they say they're forgotten. Though my reasons are different, it's a feeling I know. How can I make it without you? And how can on my own. Did you really think I would doubt you? Did you really leave me alone? Route 80 seems to stretch on for days. I count on the small towns and miles. Water Gap into Jersey and the suburban haze. But the New York City sky, that's a sight for sore eyes. Hoboken, New Jersey. It's 6 p.m. Thursday. Park the car by the ferry, and I boarded that boat. Halfway across the Hudson, took a box from my backpack. I shook out your ashes, watched you blow off and float. How am I living without you? And why am I here in this world on my own? No choice but to go on without you. But how could you leave? How could you leave? How could you leave me alone?
Very pretty. It's got a real Kim Ritchie kind of vibe to it.
Oh, I'll take that.
Yeah, yeah.
I just never like when, it's funny because people are like, who do you sound like? What do you sound like? I'm like, I don't know. Here's my influences. So I always, I like telling them, well, here's my influences. And then that usually is better because I can't, it's really hard for me to do that.
Most everybody sounds like somebody. I hear a lot of Kim Ritchie in your voice, and I didn't until you played that song, but now I'm like, okay, because I've been trying to put my finger on it, and I think that's it. So,
yeah, and I haven't, she's really great, but I haven't really listened to her that much. So, I don't know. Hey, we were talking about flying before. Mm-hmm. And I know, if you're so inclined, I know you had a song that you wrote with Hope Dunbar, who we were talking about before too. Hope's ears are probably burning. I didn't know if you wanted to do that next, or if you had something else planned first.
Speaking of flying,
because I see you got your capo set up. So I should have said, what are you planning on doing next? What is this song about?
So I read David McCullough's book a year or two ago about the Wright brothers, and it was a fascinating story. And like all songwriters, things that are interesting, you think, oh, that's good fodder for a song. It's really interesting for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is, there are very few days or moments that truly do change history, and that's a overused phrase. But when they made the first powered flight, the world changed forever. And what was fascinating to me about them, as a guy who does a lot of work with his hands, is they were not educated. I never knew this. They were not scientists. They weren't engineers. They ran a bicycle shop. They were just two guys that
regular guys,
handy, and they knew how to translate. But they had this dream, and it's the same old story about dreams. Everybody told them they were nuts. So because everybody that had tried this had ended up, getting killed. So a lot of what they faced in terms of opposition was people saying, God would have gave you wings if he'd meant you to fly. So I wrote this song, and I think it turned out really pretty. And it's called Between Heaven and the Ground. So
all right.
Play it for you now. 8 days shy of Christmas, 19 and R3, on the coast of Carolina, my brother and me. We stood atop the sand hills by the Albemarle Sound, with a mind to sail across the open sky between heaven and the ground. Well, we hail from Ohio, working men of modest means. Folks said that we were crazy, fooling with flying machines. They said, remember poor old Icarus, how he came crashing down. God would have given men wings if they belonged between heaven and the ground. But when I close my eyes at night, the vision is the same. Well, I see a sleep machine take flight, and I hear the clouds whisper my name. Those that doubt our intentions, they will never understand how it feels to burn with passion and to build a dream with your hands, with your own hands. Well, the wind blew off the water as on the hill we stood, next to our winged invention, made of wire, cloth, and wood. My brother cranked the engine, and my heart began to pound. I climbed aboard and set a course between heaven and the ground. And if I lived 1,000 lifetimes, would not forget the day I rose into the cool morning air and I watched the earth fall away. There above the sand hills, by the Albemarle Sound, two boys from Ohio touched the sky. Between heaven and the ground, yeah, we proved that day that dreams can fly between heaven and the ground.
Yay. I didn't think it was ending then, but it did. I was like, oh, where's my mouse? Oh yeah, it fell on the floor before. I've got this little table that I'm trying to keep everything together on, and I realized I got this new mouse and it tends to slide, so yeah. I might just move things around a little bit. It's always a struggle. It's always a struggle.
You just gotta roll
with
it.
I wanted to, you got another couple people who are popping in. Jay Keating.
Sweet. Jay Keating, he's president, Mr. President of the, drawing a complete blank, the Washington Songwriters Association. So.
Well, there you go. And who else? Andrew Floor. This is a great job.
Andrew Floor. I haven't seen him in a while.
So that's cool. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that you're doing. And hold on a second, because I'm going to share something. I'm going to share a screen. So you're going to be recording. Yes.
Yes,
It's coming
working
here?
on my third CD right now. We had a big chunk of it done before the pandemic, and then again, this guy that I work with, that's my producer and good friend, Dave Mallon. Again, cataclysmic events always take place. So Dave, in the midst of the pandemic, which wasn't bad enough, Dave had a burglary in his studio where they
Oh.
stole almost everything out of this beautiful state-of-the-art studio.
Maybe you just like shouldn't record.
I think it's just maybe
Well,
me. Maybe it's me. But
I wanted-
anyway, yeah.
I
So
wanted
Dave and
to
I are
show.
working on it.
Cool, because I wanted to show people that you also have you have this album that people can listen to if they go to Mike P. Ryan. This is your current album, correct?
Yeah, that's the most recent one.
Mike P. Ryan, and I'm really hoping that you do your Fait de Deux
Oh.
song today because I just think it's so beautiful. It's lovely. My maiden name's Thibodeau, so it's near and dear to my heart. And so I just wanted to let people know that they could go to Mike P. Ryan here now to get that. And now I'm gonna stop sharing.
Yeah, you can download that to your favorite streaming platform on that site, that Here Now site. So
That's
you
cool.
can send it down to Spotify or Apple Music or whatever.
Yeah, because no one really wants those CDs
I know it,
anymore. Like they don't even make cars with them.
I know, it's getting crazy.
And we're still stuck with reams of them from our first CDs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. Well, I'm going to play another song. I'm going to turn up my monitor here because, oh, that's better. Now I can actually hear myself. And I'm also going to do a song that's kind of from the last century, maybe around the same time. When did the Wright brothers invent their...
1903 was the first powered flight.
Ooh, so that just gave me chills because
Yeah.
that's right about when my grandmother came over from Russia. She came over, it's now Belarus, but she came over in the beginning of the century. She had been orphaned, and she had a younger sister. And her mother had died in, I think, in childbirth with the younger sister. And then her father remarried, and then he died. And the stepmother had other children. I guess she'd had a couple boys, and she didn't want to raise these other children, his previous marriage children. So she sent them to America. And I think my grandmother was probably around 13 or 14, and her younger sister was really young, like I don't know, single digits young, 5 to 8, somewhere around there. And they came over, they took that long trip by train over to Liverpool, and we don't know exactly what port they came into, but they came over, and she started her life in America with basically not too much, and I just thought the people back then were so incredibly brave. And I don't know, I like to think that she came through the Statue of Liberty, but there's so many, like you have to go through all of these like just reams and reams of things to find out. And we haven't found her yet, but we know she came over. So, but anyway, I wrote a song about it, and because I don't know, a couple of years back, I went to a songwriting retreat, and there was a prompt, and it said it was Mary Gaucher, and she said, "Here's a picture," and it was the Emma Lazarus poem, the Liberty, the poem that's at the base of the Statue of Liberty, the New Colossus. And so I came up with this song. I'm going to play it. And it's like it was right around that time. So when you said, 1903, I was like, ooh, yeah.
Perfect.
A lot of stuff was going on then. Okay, I'm going to mute. There we go. Hopefully nothing falls down in the middle. And I always think of this whenever I play this song. I actually have a picture on the other side of the studio that of my great-grandfather. And I think that was, I said I made it for the song that she brought it with her. But this is called Promised Land. Papa died the 19th of September. They sent us off 1 month to the day. Me and Lana with a tattered old brown suitcase. Papa's portrait tucked inside the safe. From Liverpool's steerage class, nose pressed to dirty glass, tossing on the ocean 10 long days. Oh, Lana, sister, take my hand. See the lady with the torch. This could be the promised land. Oh, Lana, she's reaching out her hand, shining at us from the shore. Welcome to the promised land. The promised land. Living with our cousins down on Broom Street. The old world life seems so far away. Now I'm 14 and working in a factory, sewing ribbons on for 50 cents a day. We light the candles Friday night, Saturday dawn's clear and bright, taking Lana on the streetcar to the bay. Oh, Lana, sister, take my hand. See the lady with the torch, living in the promised land. Oh, Lana, liberty she stands, shining on our newfound home. Welcome to the promised land. The promised land. Tired and poor, orphans at her door. Still her light I should have seen. And here we stay, work and live day by day. And now we are American. Oh, Lana, sister, take my hand. See the lady with the torch, we're living in the promised land. Oh, Lana, liberty she stands, shining in our newfound home. Welcome to the promised land. The promised land. Promised land. There you are.
Nice, beautiful.
Thank you.
I love historical stuff. I have to fight the urge to write like, yeah.
Hey, it
Oh.
worked for Steve Earle. You know, he's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I could write a historical song in 20 minutes, no problem. Well,
Yeah,
like,
I've got a few. But
well, it's like I like taking a story that maybe you don't know all the facts because my grandmother's
Yeah.
not around. She's been gone for a long, long time. My mom was the youngest of three, and I was the youngest of three. So my grandmother was born in the 1890s. She was born in a whole different time. Both my grandparents, and so we don't really know. We got the little bits and pieces here and there. And, I look at this picture on the wall of my great-grandfather, and I'm like, wow, I just would love to hear these stories. And, I have a picture of my grandmother and she was a milliner. She learned how to make hats, and she had a business, she made hats. So there she is in her long dress, probably in the teens, and, wearing a giant hat. And it's just fun to kind of make up the rest of the stories.
Yeah, one of my cousins is big into the whole family genealogy thing. So we did the Ancestry.com thing about a year ago.
Yeah.
And my cousin Johnny had already posted, there's
Did you do the DNA too, or did you?
Yeah,
just
we
do
did. And
any surprises?
Yes, two very interesting surprises. My whole entire life I was told that I had Native American blood, and turns out not a drop. And then my wife was told her whole life that she had Cuban blood, and she did hers, and not a drop of that either. So,
well, we had most people were told, oh yeah, you have Native American. We were told that, and we were always told it was on my father's side because he was French Canadian, and it was from the Mohawks. So I went and looked, and okay, so there's a very small percentage. Yes, I do have Native American blood, but it didn't come from my father's side, my grandfather's side, from my dad's paternal side. It came from my paternal grandmother, and I actually traced her back because the Catholics keep really good records, and all the way back to this Mi'kmaq woman in the 1700s, and I even had her name, and I was looking at her, I'm like, okay, that'll be a song sometime, but I don't know anything about her, so it's really just kind of fascinating stuff because all we are really is just stories, and we're here for a while, and we think we're so important, and so did they.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to just touch on one thing before we go, because we just decided, kind of spur of the moment before this. You have being a veteran, you have some pet causes, and I wanted to ask you about one of them. So let me share real quick. This just takes me a sec. My dog's trying to get in my room. I'm like, nope, come.
I thought it was mine. I heard that.
No, it's mine making a noise. Actually, it's probably the cat. So, the Warrior Music Foundation. So this is something that you're part of, and I see they have a bunch of things, but one of the things they have are songwriting retreats, and this is something that you've been involved with.
Yes, I did my first full retreat a couple of months ago, and we're going to do another one in April. And the Warrior Music Foundation uses music lessons and songwriting mentoring to help veterans with PTSD. And the songwriting retreats, what we did, was kind of a neat idea, to your point a moment ago about stories, is they paired us up with the songwriting mentor with a veteran, and then we worked for a day and a half and put together a song that tried to tell their story, the story that the veteran wanted to tell. And then we performed, everybody performed at the end of it. So. Yeah, it's a great organization started by some grassroots guys here in the Maryland, Virginia area, and
it's warriormusicfoundation.org. And I hadn't yet pointed out, but we are playing for tips tonight. And so I've said, well, why don't we? That's such a great cause. Why don't we donate? If people want a tip, we will donate to that. And you had another pet cause that you're involved in.
Also,
as well.
A good friend of mine, Andrea. Who started an organization called Music Men's, which is much like Musicians on Call, but Andrea's thing is a little bit more grassroots. And she just brings local volunteer musicians to places mostly with folks that are shut in, like nursing homes and assisted care facilities and stuff like that. And it's just taken off like crazy, and everybody in this area has volunteered to play for Andrea's cause. And it's just started out with just her big heart, and
so cool.
Year or so later, it's really rolling right along. So,
if anyone wants to contribute, tips are below at Venmo at Claudia Gibson Music, or PayPal, paypal.me/Claudia T. Gibson, and we're going to send the money to those causes. So we've played and chatted for nearly an hour. So I'm going to have you do one tune, and then I'll end with one. We'll go a little bit over. If that's okay. It's my show. I can do it. So
absolutely.
What do you have coming? What are you going to play?
Well, I'm going to play a song. You mentioned Dripping Springs, and I've been lucky enough to get invited to the Dripping Springs Songwriter Festival twice.
Awesome. Yeah.
And the little main street of the town there. Both times that I've been there, I've sat out there at night after everything's over, and I felt like there was a song there somewhere. And so this song was based on the idea of a small town that is kind of drying up and blowing away. In most cases out there in Texas and Oklahoma, it's because a lot of these little towns were oil towns, oil boom towns. And so I put the main character in the song as a guy who's in a town that's sort of, just say it's drying up and blowing away, and he's being left behind by progress. And as I was working on it, one of the things that occurred to me is that happens to us in relationships as well. Sometimes one person will move on and the other person will be left behind. So this song is called Left Behind. This old town ain't what it used to be, and neither am I. Oil used to flow like water, now the wells have run bone dry. The rigs and pipes are rusted, my old friends are gone. I'm broke down and busted, but I keep hanging on, waiting for the light of day, and hoping for some cosmic karma sign. The turning of the wheel, the whole redemption deal, a prayer to ease the pain of being left behind, left behind. Left behind. 2 years ago you packed your car and you said goodbye to me. I tried but couldn't be the man you wanted me to be. Some nights the bourbon talks me into dialing up your phone. I let you say hello, then I let well enough alone, waiting for the light of day, hoping for some cosmic karma sign. The turning of the wheel, the whole redemption deal, a prayer to ease the pain of being left behind, left behind. Left behind. Well, nightfall spreads across the flatlands, and a lonesome quarter moon hangs in the sky. In the dark, the prairie looks just like the ocean, and I wish that I could drift away on a rising tide. Well, the south wind pins the tumbleweeds against the barbed wire fence. We're stranded here together, no love, no recompense. Somewhere out there, the lucky ones, they chase their dreams each day. The rest of us just bide our time and we try to find our way, waiting for the light of day, and hoping for some cosmic karma sign. The turning of the wheel, the whole redemption deal, a prayer to ease the pain of being left behind, a prayer to ease the pain of being left behind.
Woo. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So, I just wanted to comment that when I was looking up your website, I realized why you were Mike P. Ryan, because there's a guy right down in San Antonio. Is it Mike Ryan, Country Americana?
Yep, exactly.
So there's a lot of Ryans. There's a lot of Mike Ryans running around. And I think we were talking about, I grew up with, obviously you grew up in an Irish Catholic family.
Yep.
But, or an Irish family at any rate.
Yep,
but,
definitely Irish Catholic now.
Yeah. And that's kind of the town I grew up in. You were either Irish Catholic or Italian, and I was neither, so it was kind of... I always felt slightly out of place. But anyway. So I'm going to do... it's been really great having you here.
Thanks so
I feel
much.
like I could play for another hour because it just seemed like it was maybe
it
20
just flew
minutes.
by.
Yeah.
Flew by.
And it's fun, and I hope people have enjoyed like listening to us kind of, talk about songs and influences and all that kind of stuff. And I want to thank everyone for listening, who's tuned in. And I see there was a couple tips that popped up. So thank you for that as well. If you want to check out more of Mike's music, which you should, like I know there's a lot of your friends who are watching and followers, but Mike P. Ryan Music, it kind of looks like Mike Pry and music, but MikePRyanMusic.com. There's music there. There's a lot of stuff there. It's really nice. And you're going to be recording this year. When are you looking at having an album come out?
We're back at work, so hopefully hopefully sometime this summer. You know how those things go; they take a while.
Yeah, yeah.
You know luckily, and I know you were a selectee for Songwriter Serenade. That was one of the things I've been trying to get into, and I got into it last year, and then the pandemic hit. So,
bummer.
So they were going to do it in the fall, and now they've just pushed it to next May. So,
Well, are they going to have like you people? Or are you going to
yep,
be
they're going to
who were
have
chosen
all of us
before?
that were chosen. Yeah. So.
Oh, cool! Because it's
I'm
a great
gonna-
experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to get my record done sometime before that.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
hopefully things will start getting back to normal, and I can do some touring and some playing out more. And I want to say hi to all my friends in Texas. Love going to
Yeah.
Texas. Love
Oh
playing
yeah,
there,
well, Texas is, your music really. I mean, I can tell, your background is from Oklahoma and out this way because there's just a certain. I think that was one of the things. I know it was one of the things that attracted me into coming out this way like 14 years ago because I realized like most of the music and the songwriters that I really love were all from Texas.
Yep.
From
something in the water.
Yeah, I guess so. But there's just some great ones and all different kinds too. And like right now, it's virtual South by Southwest, but that's always fun out here in Austin because they have the big thing, which has gotten kind of corporate. But what they also have, which is really fun, is just all this unofficial stuff. And there's just a lot of people playing in every single little restaurant and bar and everywhere, and it's a lot of fun. So anyway, I hope to see you back this way. My husband built us a really great little stage out in our garden, and so we're going to start having some little tiny, I think we could have like 30 people maybe outdoor, just kind of songwriters who are maybe traveling and want to have a place to stay for a day and, and play some music and
say the word. No.
It might be fun.
Show
Yeah.
up at your doorstep.
in Smudge's garden, Smudge's the kitty. But yeah, I'm going to play one more tune, and then if people will hang around, and then we'll just come back together and say goodbye to everyone.
Okay.
All right. So
Sounds good.
right now, I will. It's kind of tough being the producer too. I'm not complaining. I signed up for it, but sometimes it's a little like. Well, this is a song that I wrote recently, 2 months ago. I haven't written a lot of songs during the pandemic. I've written lots of parts of songs, and I feel like as we're kind of starting to come out, like I had my first dose of my vaccine, and that hopefully there'll be some gigs this summer, outdoor gigs. I kind of feel like all those little bits and pieces are going to come together because I just write them down and and then I pull them back like, oh yeah, here's a verse, here's a chorus. But this one came out in one piece, and I was it just had a feel to me of maybe, I was thinking of like those old Carter family songs. And I really hear that kind of instrumentation on it. This song's called Shine On. Cast your old cares away at the end of the day and lay down beside me and close weary eyes. When our work here is done, we will fly to the sun and shine on forever in light. Sometimes the world feels so heavy, the burden of years as we toil and we strive. Luck is not even or steady. Keep your hand on the tiller and eyes on the prize. Cast your old cares away at the end of the day and lay down beside me and close weary eyes. When our work here is done, we will fly to the sun and shine on forever in light. Remember my lifetime companion, for better or worse we have carved out a life. Now love can bridge rivers and canyons, peace that divine. Cast your old cares away at the end of the day. Lay down beside me and close weary eyes. When our work here is done, we will fly to the sun and shine on forever in light. Shine on forever in light. So, there we are. There we have it. So we got a songwriter in Virginia, by way of Oklahoma. And we got me in Texas by way of New York and, Hong Kong, where I lived when I was young, but mostly New York State. And anyway, Mike, Ryan, it's been a pleasure to have you here on the 50/50 Hour.
Well, it's been my pleasure to be here. Thanks to everybody for showing up and checking us out. If you like my stuff, Claudia gave you my website. Thing that means the most to me is hearing directly from people and let me know what you like. And
you have a mailing list on your website, I would assume.
And I have you can email me there on the website as well. So
cool. Yeah, and the same thing. Like, mailing lists are just the best way, because do you send out like a newsletter or something? Because I started doing that.
I did when things were normal. I haven't.
Hi, I'm staring at the wall again.
Yeah. I haven't since the cooties took over. So.
The cooties, I like that. But people should really sign up for your website and sign up for mine if you like my music, because really it's the best way to hear what's going on. Are you going to be doing a Kickstarter for your recording? Are you not
probably
sure?
not for that, but there will be some innovative promotion, which is yet to be determined. Whatever
Innovative
it is.
promotion.
We may be giving away cars and Caribbean vacations.
Can I share something, because I forgot to share this, and I did steal a picture from your Facebook page. I hope you're not mad. I didn't take your kid. I didn't take your wife, even though she's lovely.
Yes,
but I couldn't resist. You have like the cutest freaking dog in the whole world. Okay.
In the world.
Yeah.
That's Rowdy.
He's really cute. Yeah, I adopted a dog this past year who's not. She's pretty, but she's not like she's not like a little Ewok like that. So anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just say he's got a personality to match. He is a complete goofball. He keeps us entertained all the time.
That's what they got to do.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone. We're going to sign off now. Mike, just hang out afterwards, and I'll say hi to you. Shower you with money. No. That won't happen. But thank you so much, everyone. I hope you will. Do you have anything coming up online, or are you just going to let people know through your website?
Nothing in the near future. Next thing I've got of any substance is a songwriter retreat with Warrior Music Foundation. But stay tuned, because I think things are starting to normalize, and so we'll be back out there in the world again soon.
I have another virtual show this weekend through a thing called Balanced Breakfast, which is usually an unofficial South by show. They're a group from San Francisco, but they're doing it all virtual, and they invited me to do a little interview and a couple songs Saturday night at what time? I don't know. It's on my page. I do believe it's 6 p.m. San Francisco time, so that would be 8 p.m. here and 9 p.m. And then I have another series coming up with oh my goodness, Scott Sean White is going to be at the thing I do for the first Sunday Songwriters for the New World Deli. And probably my last virtual one, because I think after that it'll be in person. And that tends to be Texas songwriters. So, and he's one of my favorite songwriters. So anyway, thanks so much, Mike. And thank you all. And we're going to wave goodbye now.
Thanks, Claudia.
Okay. See
everybody soon, hopefully.
Bye.